So we just got some pretty big news on the official launch of Dune Awakening, and more specifically the launch times and preload times. So we're less than 2 weeks away from the launch of Dune Awakening, and Head Start is even closer. Time to grab your From Kit, put on your still suit, and get ready. And the first thing they show is the release timings, and this map is specifically on June 5th, but 5 days later after the early access period on June 10th, the release times will be the exact same. And you'll just be able to check the map to see whatever time zone you live in. For me, I'm in Eastern time, so it would be 10 a.m. on June 5th. And then they go on to say the Dune Awakening will first be available in Head Start on June 5th for those who have pre-ordered either the Deluxe or Ultimate editions. Pre-ordering either edition or the base edition will also unlock the Terrarium of Muad'Dib as the pre-order reward. That's just a cosmetic item. And also the prices of all of these editions are $50 for the base edition, $70 for the Deluxe, and $90 for the Ultimate. Later in this video, I'll also go over some of the different things and some of the important things in those additional editions. Now, official launch is June 10th, at which point pre-orders and that Terrarium cosmetic will no longer be available for purchase. The base, Deluxe, and Ultimate editions will be available for regular purchase from that point onward. And the game will unlock for play on Steam at 10 a.m. Eastern time, both on June 5th and June 10th. For other regions, you can go check the map for your time zone. Preload will be available to all pre-order owners 24 hours before Head Start on June 4th. So on June 4th, no matter which edition of the game you've bought, you'll be able to preload. But if you've only bought the base version, you still won't be able to play until June 10th on the official release. And multiple world/servers will be available at the Head Start, but the majority of servers will go live with launch on June 10th as more players come in. So if you're not joining us for the Head Start, so that means you're just buying the base version of the game, you will find plenty of fresh new worlds or servers to join on June 10th. You can still choose a Head Start world or server at launch if you prefer, but there will be a bunch of fresh start servers. So just to go back over that, if you buy the Deluxe or Ultimate edition of the game, you get a 5-day head start. You can play on June 5th. The official launch is on June 10th, 5 days later. The launch time is the same on the 5th or the 10th, and there will be a smaller amount of worlds or servers to choose between if you get a higher tier version of the game and get the Head Start version. So there'll be a bunch of worlds that are specific Head Start versions, but then on June 10th, a lot more servers will open up on the launch on June 10th. So there will be fresh start servers, so you don't have to play in a server with people who have already been progressing for 5 days. Now you still can play on those if you say have friends that are playing on them and you want to join them. Most likely, most people will be on the fresh servers, and I know a bunch of people who are buying higher tier versions of the game will also be going to also play in the fresh servers, so keep that in mind. They will have a little bit more information, but there's already a ton of people with information from the closed beta test anyway. And then a final piece of information, on May 28th, so probably the day after this video is released, they will be having another developer live stream showing off the mid to end game, and that will probably be another 2+ hour long live stream. So we'll finally get a lot of public information on the mid game and going into the end game in the deep desert. Now, I also want to go over some of the more important pieces in the higher tier version of the game. So as I mentioned, the base version is $50, the Deluxe edition is $70, and the Ultimate edition is $90, and that's in USD. So if you don't use USD, it'll be some other price. These are the 3 editions of the game, and I think the main thing through these different editions is once you get up to the Deluxe, so the Deluxe or the Ultimate edition, you get the Season Pass, which is the first 4 DLCs. DLCs in Dune Awakening are primarily cosmetic focused. They can also have some additional quest content. And then in both of those versions, you also get the Head Start so you could play on June 5th. Pretty much everything else in the different versions of the game are cosmetic items. You do also get the digital art book and soundtrack for the Ultimate edition, but everything else in either of the higher tier versions or some of the rewards you get specifically for pre-ordering are all cosmetic. There are dye swatches, which are just different dyes for different items. There are different cosmetic building pieces. There are armor cosmetics. There are more swatches for vehicles. There is a Caladan Palace building set, which isn't a full building set. It's just like small in-house cosmetic building pieces like tables and a bunch of more intricate things. So I think the most important things are the Season Pass and the Head Start. Again, everything else is cosmetic. So if you don't care about either of those things, I'd probably just get the base version. So we are finally getting very close to the launch of this game, and I think this game is going to be pretty big on launch. And from everything I've seen about this game, all the information I know, and the small amount of the game I've played, I think this game has a pretty big future, especially if they update it consistently with new and interesting content. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.